This is Nicki DeMarco reporting for the AU Examiner. I'm here tonight with Ted Sorensen, who's best known for his work with President John F. Kennedy. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I first wanted to ask you.
Is that Nicki with two Ks?
Actually, CK.
Really?
Yes, my mom liked boys' names, so she wanted to spell it accordingly. John F. Kennedy is still and was such a major figure in American political culture. I just wanted to ask you on a personal level what it was like to work so closely with him and know him as a friend.
It was absolutely wonderful. It was thrilling to be at the right hand for 11 years of a man of such grace and charm, but also a man who was clearly determined to do what was best for this country and world, whose ideals of peace and justice were the ideals that I shared. He, like I, had been, brought up by his parents to try to make this a better country and a better world. And I can tell you that just as charming and eloquent as he was in public, he could be that same way in private, including being very funny.
Really? A lot of people who were alive in 1963 are often asked the question where they were and what they were doing when they had found out that President Kennedy had been assassinated. And I'm sure that you discussed this in your book, but I just wanted to ask you where you were and what you were doing when you heard the news.
Please read the book. It's not a subject I'd like to discuss.
Okay.
I discussed it in the book at great length for the first time, but it's, to be honest with you, that was a very difficult chapter for me to write.
What do you think his loss did to the American psyche?
Say it again?
What do you think the loss of President Kennedy did to the American psyche?
Oh, I think there's one quotation in which the Assistant Secretary of Labor, Pat Moynihan, said to a wonderful columnist, Mary McGrory, both of them were Irish Catholics, reflecting on Kennedy's death. And Pat said, meaning for the whole country, we'll never be young again. There's probably something to that. Something went out of America when John F. Kennedy was killed. And then to think that his brother would be killed 6 years later, that Dr. King would be killed that same year as his brother, even in a country 200 plus million people, you can't take three unique leaders like that and go on in the same way, because leaders like that don't come around. I gave a speech during the Obama campaign quoting Seamus Heaney, the Irish poet, who said, once in a lifetime there's a surge of justice, and history and hope merge, something like that. And I said I'm old enough that twice in my lifetime, with Kennedy and Obama, we've seen that merger of hope and history, but it doesn't come very often. And I think this country, as I said in the big forum, this country was changed in all kinds of harmful ways, both domestically and internationally, by the loss of John F. Kennedy. And without inviting a lot of new questions, because I won't answer them, we're all going to learn more this year about why he was killed.
Okay, and just to touch on what you just said about energy and youth, people often talk about how energetic and passionate the youth were during John F. Kennedy's presidency.
Yeah, somebody told me that they took a survey of the top graduates from probably Harvard, and the first year of Kennedy's administration, 60% wanted to go to Washington and join the federal government, public service. And now, this was during George W. Bush, only 4 or 5% wanted to do that.
Do you believe that that energy has resurfaced, even if it is a year and a few months into Obama's presidency, or because some believe that the energy has dwindled, but you do feel it's still as prominent as when he was first elected?
Oh, I think as I go around talking to young people, there's still a lot of hope and trust in Obama. Nobody's perfect. When I'm interviewed by the press, how do I grade Obama? I say nobody's perfect. He gets an A minus, but that's a lot better than the F minus I gave his predecessor.
Well, Mr. Sorensen, I thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Hey, Nicki, thank you.
Thank you again. We appreciate it very much.
Okay.